Uh, okay, the rant is, um, yeah, nothing in here is judged, good or bad. It's not even germane to what we're doing here. And that's one of the keys to this whole way of working big and letting go and liberation and all that stuff is to learn how to put the judge out of the room. And as I was beginning to say, it is the thing that I find I'm saying more than anything else in all of the classes that I teach, everywhere that I've been, is how to learn to get to escape our own self-judging. I mean, and also to have no preconceptions of what art is or can be, and also what good art is. That's why I'm very reluctant to right now at the beginning of this class show you slides of other famous artists, because I feel like in so many ways then it sort of sets the, this like high bar. Well, this is art, but what you're making isn't. I mean, that's just not part of my framework. If I do show examples, it is only to say, oh, here's an example that somebody that I found is doing that can kind of like open the door. Oh, I get it, So I think that's valid, but generally I'm not in favor of, putting the famous artists out there to aspire to, because I'm wanting us to value what each of us has to say. That's so important, to really say, I can take space. I mean, I'm going to say too that I think a lot of us are from the same generation. And, one of the things, and I've struggled so hard as an artist over, I went to classic route of art school, masters in fine arts and all that, blah, blah, blah. Of all the degrees in the world, I still had to fight with a feeling of self-confidence, and it's taken me, I think finally I'm kind of over it. On a sort of very much want to help other people, other women to get that judge out of the way, because we are so badly influenced by that, that one's work is always judged, that one's value is judged constantly by whether some arbitrary judge thinks it's good or bad, and that also as an artist, that as a woman, you can't take up space in that way, so working large is a way to take back the space, to say, I am worthy. I can do this. I can say this stuff, because it's kind of where you have to start. You have to like put aside what you think is good art right now, this very moment, and just try to, and I'm going to try to help us all do that, to leave the preconceptions. Okay. Feedback, thoughts, feelings. What do you get? Agree, disagree? What do you think?
I think that's terrific. And that's something I've been learning from you for a while, and it's been seeping in deeper and deeper. And I think with what you just said today, that it got in again, at another a deeper level. And I just think it's terrific, because this, for whatever reasons, we're compelled to do this. So it's important to us.
Yes.
And it's very meaningful to us. And to be able to say, as you have said, Adrienne, to the world, this is what I do.
I'm worthy, and it is worthy. Yes, right. Exactly. Maddie.
So I'm teaching some local friends who are complete novices in art, and they struggle so with not liking their work.
Yeah.
One had a meltdown the other day.
Yeah.
And I just think what you've had to say about judging is like, I'm writing it down, and I'm going to use that next time to really try to impart to them how important it is to just take the judge out of the work. And also, even with all your experience, you've struggled with that.
I have.
So, and they like to say, one of them says, but I have no experience at all. So your words are like very important to me today.
Thank you. Janice, did you want to say?
Yes, well, I guess I'm gonna throw this out there because this, I mean, I very much want to work in that non-judgmental way because it's
Yes.
definitely a big obstacle for myself. But still, there must be, Adrian, when you're working, like you're responding, you may be thinking, oh, this isn't quite working. This isn't quite, I want to try to experiment. What if this, what if that? I mean, that conversation that is still valid. I mean, just anything
Yes.
you put down just doesn't.
No, so
So
no,
I want to kind of understand how when you're, yeah.
yes. Very good, Janice. I love that question. So
Okay.
Janice, I think what you're saying is, yeah, well, right, we can all just kind of spew marks and things out on a piece of paper, but then how do you, how do you work with it so that, it's like this exploration and that there's a sort of sense of a completion to a work, right?
Well, and also I think one reason, like when, at least for me, since I was a complete novice, starting around 60, there was some, the framework of the conventions of more you had a set of, well, you work, values, shapes, contract, composite. You kind of had a roadmap
Yeah.
for kind of how to do, quote, do something, and was it working and was it not working? And it's for me, it fails to think, oh, abstraction, oh, then I don't have to worry about all that. But there has to be some kind of principles, I think, as we try to work more abstractly to tether you to something.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I guess I would say the answer to your question is that we in art classes, we learn these things, these abstract concepts, and what makes a good, I mean, using quotes, good,
Right.
I mean, what I'm telling you, it's kind of, it's kind of goes against what some art teachers would do. It's kind of backward though, in my opinion, because, if you are trying to respond from your intuition and your gut, then, that stuff will happen naturally. All right, I don't want to talk too much about it, but you'll see.
Okay.
I'm hoping that by doing it, it will be clear. Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm sorry to be so, yeah.
No,
Sometimes words don't do it. Sometimes actions do better. Yeah. Reed.
I just wanted to add one brief comment in that the way I work is that I emote.
Mhm.
Just put it all down. I don't worry about it. And then at some point, the editor has to come in and say, okay, this is working, this isn't working, this is what needs to, this isn't reaching me, it's not expressing what I want to say.
Yeah.
But that's initially, it's just, whew.
I mean, Reed, that's that's kind of my approach here. So what we're trying to do is, get to the understanding that there are two processes, and they're pretty different. One is
Yeah.
the active doing, and you do, and you don't judge, and you let whatever happens, because it is an experiment. It is, oh, what happens if I do this? What happens when I do that? Let me just, and you are responding. Of course you're responding. You're putting down a mark, and then that's what we do. We naturally respond. It is a call and response with this piece of paper that's in front of you. And then comes the editing part. So,
Right.
but they're two separate things. To edit and do at the same time, can end up making this the experience of your flow choppy and frustrating. So what we're going to do by working fairly quickly and moving through a lot of pieces of paper, and my voice saying, okay, next. will, demonstrate, this particular process. And it,
And
and
there's always gesso.
there's always.
There's always gesso.
But yeah, and I mean, and not as a way to say, oh, it was a mistake, but a
No.
way to say, hey,
I want to do something else.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And this is why we're working on paper. And you have lots of paper. Paper is very forgiving. Paper can be torn, it can be cut, it can be collaged and added to and everything else. And it's just the most wonderful, freeing material. There's nothing special about canvas. You're not a better artist if you work on canvas. Canvas is fine if you want to use, if for certain reasons. And Ellen's heard me my spiel on the canvas versus paper thing. I'm all about using paper, for this kind of approach. Given, I mean, if I had my way, I'd say, oh, just stay with paper, stay with a good quality paper, be done with it, and just have fun, because it will give you that freedom. So what we're doing today is we're creating a space, both psychological and in our location, that allows for not having to worry about being neat or clean or organized or any of those things. So we're just not going to get down on ourselves. Like, and I know this is a very hard lesson, right? I mean, it's, I don't think we ever get over it, but I'm going to say that there are ways that you can learn to hurdle over it, right? To not let it get into us. You're not going to, I'm going to tell you, you're not ever going to get rid of the judge, but there's definitely ways to quiet it.
Mhm.
We're too far gone. We're all gone. I'm just speaking for all of us. Right? It just, yeah, just from my own experience. I mean, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna move quickly. We're gonna be learning how to have this flow happen, and okay. Anything else that anyone wants to say at this point? Ellen, yeah.
I just want to say something about experience, because that comes up so much.
Yeah.
It may be true that one doesn't have much experience with a certain material, using a certain material, but I've had the experience sometimes a small collage will come together in 5 minutes. And when someone asks me, well, how long did it take you to make that? I want to say it took me 70 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really, really believe this, that it's our experience out of the whole of us that is making art. And maybe, yes, we need to know more about how acrylic behaves or how oil behaves or, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, we've had lifetimes of experience living from where, this stuff comes from places. Don't think that especially this abstract language. We have, the marks that we make are from our own bodies. I mean, that is, you can't get more unique than that. That's why I hate when you say, oh, let's paint like Monet. I want to paint like Monet. I mean, it's like, well, but Monet lived 150 years ago, and he was a man, he was in Paris, and he was this and that, and we're not that. None of us are that. It's not about talent or ability or any of that stuff. It's just like who you are, to value who you are and your own expressivity and where you come. And yes, you can take classes on how to mix colors and how to do this. And of course, we don't have time to get into all of that. We're going to just go with what we have. And I'm going to be pretty directive in this class so that we don't have some of those humps to get over. But that's certainly stuff that you can add to this. But the basic premise here is on a big sheet of paper, by work and working fairly quickly, and just and learning to keep the judge out by a number of different things that you're going to see me demonstrate. We will be able, I think, to conquer some fear, to learn new things about ourselves and about materials, and to have a sort of way of working that you can take with you after this class is over, and just know that it's always going to be there for you. All right, so we'll come back around to this, but that's that was my rant. And I really started teaching classes like this at the DeCordovis some 25 years ago, and I discovered this was really it. To heck with the drawing skills and the painting skills. My students want to learn about how to see like an artist sees, how to engage with materials in a way that's important to them. And yes, you can learn all that stuff, and that's good, but it's not like sort of the essence of it.
Right.
Okay, so let me go over some of these materials and just talk to you in general about things and see if I can, troubleshoot or answer questions. So my first thing on the list was paper. And so I had suggested 10 sheets of 22 by 30 inch Reeves BFK or Stonehenge paper or comparable heavy paper. And I don't know which each of you has. I'm sure it will be fine. It really doesn't matter even. But even if it's just good old white paper from a drawing pad, it's also fine. The difference is with the heavier paper, it's just that it's a little bit more water absorbent and won't give you so many problems. And a sort of like just silly things like warping or laying flat or whatever. So yeah, this can be done, and these are cardboard really. But the idea is that you have 10 so that you have lots, and I think that that's something else to know. If you set out to do some work, don't just do one. If you have lots of things to go back and forth with, you won't be like, the one will become so important. The one will be part of, oh, there was this and that, and so your focus and your attention and your stress about, completing this, doing it right, and that the judge likes to get into that. So for the judge, we like to have lots of things going. So the other thing was one soft charcoal stick. So a soft piece of charcoal is always great. You may not hear me specifying some of these, things, but you are free to just pick it up if you want to pick it up, So all these things I really want to encourage you to take the lead. And again, it's like assert yourself. This is a whole weekend about asserting yourself and saying, yeah, right now I want to do the charcoal. She's saying use paintbrush, but right now I want to do charcoal. Fine, do it. I don't mind, I don't care. I'm simply, providing you with some guidance as you get started. 3 sponge brushes, 3 or 4 inches wide. And so, I have a couple like this. They're nice and inexpensive. You probably got them from the hardware store. And, they're a great way to get a lot of paint onto a surface very quickly. And so I like to, have that. I also want to say one thing about brushes. Brushes are overrated. And brushes come with their own psychological, it's an artist's brush. That means, I got to paint in a certain way. So we won't really be focusing much on the brushes, maybe a little, but it's not, we are going to be making marks with a lot of other things and in ways that you may not be used to. So that's what I have to say about brushes. Again, it's getting rid of these things, the preconceptions, and all the historic weight, of an artist's brush and what that connotes. Yikes. It's only one way of getting paint onto a surface. Janice, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, do you use palette knives much? Because I find that much more freeing than a brush.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things are, absolutely. Brushes, everything from painters, rollers to brayers to squeegees to sticks and whatnot. Absolutely, all of that is fair game, and you'll be surprised how many artists are using unconventional materials. So the brush is just one little thing in the pile of the panoply of possibilities. I like that, panoply of possibilities. Okay. 3 kitchen sponges. ish. Again, because sponges are, a great way to get water onto your paper quickly, and also a great way to put paint on your surface, as opposed to a brush. A small container of white gesso, as Ree was saying, yeah, because you can erase with gesso. You can also, this is how we're going to make opacity, an opaque color, by adding our white gesso to any acrylic color. And this is something, again, that I'm going to emphasize about, little tips of the trade, tricks and tips of the trade to help you, understand and get some of the qualities that you may want to get. Then, this palette of acrylic paints and, whatever, I'm assuming that you've all gotten stuff. If you want to use watercolor, that's fine. Use watercolor. I'm not averse to any medium that you want to bring into this. Really, there's nothing wrong or right about it. That just, as I said, I kind of like, it's hard to ask students to, buy everything in the art supply store. I don't want to do that. I know there's a limit to how much money you want to spend, but this is a start. And if you're just new to this and you just have those colors that I had suggested, that's great. You have some basics, but if you have more, fine. No problem with that. Plastic kitchen gloves or latex gloves, you may want to do that. It's nice to not have to get your hands really messy. I'm very guilty of doing that, and it's a mess, but it's okay. So if you want to use latex gloves and you feel like doing that, that's great. If you're not, no problem. By the way, acrylic is easy to get off your hand. Sometimes it'll stick for a while, but I use a little hand brush. I use lava soap is great. That's got pumice in it, and it really does do the trick if you get paint on yourself, on your hands. And in terms of your clothing, if you do somehow get something, I've used rubbing alcohol. A little bit of rubbing alcohol dissolves things pretty quickly. And so, yeah, but right, that's, usually cleanup is possible. Rags or paper towels is great, even to paint with, and some miscellaneous items for texture, bubble wrap, corrugated cardboard, twine, God knows what. People have all kinds of different things, and I would love to see. Everybody's going to have different stuff at their, wherever you are. I want to see. Scissors, X-Acto blade, whatever to cut, because we're going to be doing some of that. Absolutely, collaging, tearing. Soft gel matte acrylic medium for adhesive. So acrylic medium is great glue. The gel is a great glue. And so you may have that. If you don't have that, Elmer's glue is fine. Any kind of adhesive. Again, this is just for example, and it's not something that you have to have. And then tape, masking tape is great. And it's really, something that I find that I'm using constantly, and everything else that you've got. So any questions about the materials? Okay, so what I want to do now is just kind of give you a couple of little pointers about, ways in which we'll be using these materials, and just a little bit of a peek into, what these different viscosities are all about. Let's get that here. And so I'm going to show you some of the ways that I've set up for this class. And I got a big bucket of water here, which is, kind of nice to have. It just kind of makes it so that you have quite so many trips to the sink. But that's really great. But I want to show you, first of all, how you might approach mixing up some water, because one of the first things that we're going to be doing actually is pouring some very watered down paint onto some pieces of paper. I think I mentioned that in my little intro email last night. Because some of the things that we need to do need to dry before we move along. So how would you do that? So I'm going to just say I'm somebody who saves my containers constantly. big, small, whatever, all different kinds of containers, that, you know, for our purposes, and this is a small one, just happen to have this one, but I'm all about using a big containers or plastic cups or what have you, you know, these are.
Should they have tops?
I mean,
Should
they
they have
can,
top?
they can, you know, if you don't have them, don't worry about it. Yeah,
Okay.
you know, tops are great because you can literally save your paints for weeks if you have a top. And I do this all the time. You know, but yeah, if you don't have them, don't worry about it. You know, certainly for this class, I bet you'll use everything that you mix in this class. You know, so anyway, to start with, let me talk about the possibility. So you might have, you know, paint that comes like this only. How many people only have acrylics that look like this in a tube? Yeah, okay, a lot of you. It's fine, it's fine. But in order to get them to be sort of a staining capacity, what we need to do is just to mix them with water. So in that case, let me just show you what you would do here. And by the way, I believe in using our art supplies. So we're not going to be worried about spending money in this class. You already spent the money, so now you're going to use it. And you know, what good is paint if it isn't being used? So I say use it. And so I just squeezed out probably like a tablespoon of this yellow into this cup here. And you know, these paints have a lot of pigment in them, and so they can be really watered down, and you'd be surprised how much, you know, still like, you know, color they really have. So, you know, what you might want to do is just go slowly and add your paint. But if you have this heavy body paint, what I might do is start with a little bit of water and get it mixed up. And you can use a brush to do that. But we're going to be,
Adria,
yeah.
I have, I don't have a lot of gold in. I have like more cheaper paints.
No problem.
So the pigment won't be as strong.
Maybe not, but it'll be fine. I mean,
Okay.
I think it'll be totally fine, you know, yeah. So anyway, it doesn't matter what kind of paint you have, even if it's really inexpensive paint, it'll be fine. And that's how you mix it. That's how you get a more fluid paint, you know, that's what you do. And then the more water you add to it, the more fluid it is. So right now, you know, coming out of this, you see it's not flowing right off of my paintbrush, and you may really want it to do that, in which case just keep adding water to it. So we're not going to add, don't do this right now. I'm just explaining for everybody just to know when we start to work, you know, kind of what you're going for here. So this is better. Do you see how it just poured off my paintbrush here? So simple. This is a way to make, you know, otherwise known as a glaze. You know, a glaze is paint that's been watered down, you know, either with medium or water. So water is you know, a way to change your paint's viscosity. And for my money, it's totally fine to use that. You don't need mediums in here today. You know, we don't need to, we're not getting into the technical stuff. This is really expressivity. This is really play. This is, you know, emphasis on trying and experimentation and kind of going for the kind of big picture, you know, the big gesture that is. So, you know, and actually you may even want to add more water to that. But this is kind of the stuff where it becomes an individual choice on your own, like cooking. You know, how much water do you want in your paint? You know, how light of a color do you want? And, you know, when you put it down, was it not dark enough? Oh, not dark enough? Add more paint. So anyway, that's you know, something that we'll be doing soon, but not at the moment. Then of course, we have the ability to work thickly, and certainly, you know, one of the things that I want to talk to you about today, you know, in terms of our work, is this idea of contrasts, and as even as a way to sort of frame what we're doing, and even as a I guess what I would say as a theme, you know, as a conceptual theme, if you want to even say that, this idea of contrasts can even be something that can guide our experimentation, because you have the ability for so many kinds of contrasts in art making. You have thick and you have thin, you have dark and you have light, you have textural and you have smooth. You have even then, attributing kind of emotions to paints. You have loud and you have quiet and angry and sad and happy and joyous and the opposite. So, this idea, anyway, you get the drift. So not only can it be a technical theme, but it also can be a sort of conceptual theme. So if you're working with the regular paint, just going to show you on my desk here again, and if you do have this thick paint, only this thick paint, then you're lucky in that you already have a substance that can hold texture, and this is what we love about what we call heavy body paint. So the textural stuff, and I'm just looking for my little, hold on a second, my palette knife to show you. Is it? Oh God, you should see my desk. It's really a little frightening. So I have one of these really big spatulas. I mean, this is like a frosting spreader. Maybe you have one, but it can be a great paint spreader. And so this, allows you to move this paint around and without a brush, scratch into it. It's, these kinds of things, a plastic palette knife, a metal palette knife, a plastic spoon. I mean, you really can be pretty creative and not feel like you have to spend $1 zillion, on just the right instrument. But, the big difference between, these acrylics that are very fluidy and the ones that are very thick is the ability to, really add a lot of body to your stuff. And if you happen to have, and this is not something that I, again, there's only so much I can ask you guys to buy, but, mediums just, can be added to your paint to make them even more textural. But again, this is not a necessity. You'll be fine if you just have the heavy body. And any questions about this stuff? So we have this, yeah, Janice. Oh.
Yes, so when we mix the, to create the glaze,
Yes,
I only have the tube paints.
yes,
So we can just add water to that in
That's
the
right.
same way.
that's right. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying. So yeah, what I just did, that the yellow, that's what you would do if you only have the heavy body paints to make them more fluid. And it's just, yeah, it's like, that's why you want to have not a painter's palette, which I feel are fairly useless, especially when you want to work big. That's why I collect plastic containers. Yeah, because you can mix your paints, a lot of them at one time, and you don't, that's also one of the great things to be able to do. But you have a huge amount of paint for a huge space, right? Mary, question?
Yeah,
Okay.
what's the difference between adding water or adding acrylic glazing medium to the heavy body?
Well, again, I don't want to get too much into the weeds of it. I think we're adding water mostly because it's convenient and everybody has it. And, the mediums, they make the paint kind of hang together a little bit more. The water, does different things, but honestly, you're just thinning your paint. Either way, I wouldn't, and I don't want to get too much into the technical stuff for this class, Mary, because it starts to, get in the way of our, just experiencing it. But Maddie,
What about house paint?
house paint's great. House paint, interesting. Okay, so this segues to my next little chat here. House paint is mostly white, right? If you've ever seen them make house paint color for you, they take this big gallon of white base, and the white base is some part of white titanium white pigment, and mostly chalk, calcium carbonate. So that's, and and the house paint is, known for like having not very much pigment in it. And, they want you to keep painting your house. So it's like, the pigment that they use is not very light fast. So, hence you have to go paint your house again. We are going to be using our gesso as white paint. Gesso or white house paint can serve the same possibility for you in your painting. And so this is key. Most of the paints that you will have, and I don't know what everybody has, if you have golden, most of them do not have white in them already. Most of them are already, they're transparent paints. So yes, you might be able to cover with a thick, paint like this, but if you spread that paint out, you would see that it also is pretty, well, I don't know if this is easy to see, it's not easy to see this, but anyway, these paints are pretty transparent, just generally. So like, for example, you see the little black hatch marks on the top of the label here, and you see the paint over it. You still see the black hatch marks, and so this list will tell you that, if you put down especially a thin coat of paint, you're going to be able to see what's underneath it. You might want to do that, but you may not want to. So I want to show you how to mix your paints so that you can paint and the stuff underneath won't show. So first of all, you can use your gesso. Gesso is, as I said before, same thing as house paint pretty much. It's white, titanium white pigment and chalk. Calcium carbonate, little critters that have been, usually from the ocean, right? That's what chalk is. Those white cliffs of Dover, it's chalk. Yeah, the fossilized little critters, or, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if it's fossilized, but. So what you want to do to make a color that is opaque is to get one of your little, just gonna tear this off. See, I have this here. It's got dried paint in it. So I'm just gonna, this is what's great about acrylics. If you have dried paint in it, you just kind of peel it out and get a nice clean, or at least empty container, and you're ready to go. And so I'm just going to use I have gesso up here. It's one of the things I forgot, but we're going to pretend this is gesso. This is actually just white titanium paint, titanium white pigment paint, which you can use. The downside about using this is that it's expensive and it doesn't really cover all that well. So here's the label of the white paint. Do you see the little hash marks at the top? You see how you can see through them? Yeah, so it's white, but it is not terribly opaque. So that's why I kind of like using gesso or white house paint to make my paints behave more opaquely. So I'm just going to open the cover here and squeeze them in because I'm not getting there we go. Whoa, okay. Show you now. Okay, so I have a container of white. Do you see I've got a lot of it in there? I've got maybe I'm going to say 2 tablespoons. If you were to try to cover this is not enough. If you wanted to cover a 22 by 30 piece of paper, it's not enough. What you would possibly do is add a little water to make it be a bit more fluidy. And let's add our color here. Actually, let's add some of this red that I already have on here to it. Okay. Now, it's true that if we add a little bit, we get pink. But if we add quite a bit of this paint, we actually have actually, what, you know what I'm gonna do here is, so we have a very opaque color here, and we can get pink without white, but it has to be a very watered down red. So there's two ways to get pink, right? There's a way like adding adding white to it, which we just did, or, you know, adding water to your, I get my brush here. Just adding water to your paint. So, right? So I've got pink and I've got pink. They're not the same value, but you know, basically you're seeing the difference. And there's nothing wrong with creating white, creating a light color, pink, whatever you want to call it, coral or whatever. But know that the paper's showing through to make that color, right? If this paper were black, you know, that's not the color you would see at all. If this paper had blue on it first, that's not the color. So, you know, if you wanted pink, you would really, the only way you'd be able to do that would be to mix your red with white to make a pink. Okay, so that's one of the things. Now, let me backtrack because, you know, what I ended up showing you is how to make a pretty light color using white. But let me show you how to make a nice strong color, but it's also opaque. So I'm going to get another container. And I don't mean to make this a big deal, everybody. I just want to, you know, kind of give you a little bit of the basics so that you're not kind of going into all of this having to, you know, kind of be stumped, you know, just from the get-go about the paint. So, all right, let's say I wanted to make this yellow, which is always a hard color because it is so light. First of all, how do we make a yellow behave more opaquely? The only way to do that is to add white to it. So let me just take this little top here and I'm going to start with my yellow. Okay. I'm just using this top so you can see a little bit better. And then we're going to add just a little bit of white to it. Okay. Just a little. And by a little, like with, this is about I'm going to say this is about a teaspoon. That was too much. So you're just going to add a little bit of your white to this paint here. I'm just going to move this aside. And you'll see the actual color isn't going to change all that much. But when you add white to it, you will be able to cover what is underneath. So let's just.
So,
Yep.
Adrienne, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to
Sure.
get the macro of,
Yeah.
you're showing this because,
I want to show you because there may be times during our class when you really want a color to cover another color.
okay,
And the only way that you can do that, you know, is by adding, but just knowing that you add a little tiny bit of white to it.
okay.
Or a lot of white.
White or the gesso or the gesso?
Gesso. Gesso is basically white paint. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
got a fancy name to it. Yep, but that's why I say it's cheaper and it does, in my mind, it's more effective to make an opaque color.
Okay,
So,
because, I mean,
yeah.
underlying that whole premise is the heavy body paints. They're not opaque in and of itself. They're more
That's-
translucent, and that's why we're doing this.
Yes, heavy body, the viscosity doesn't really affect how transparent the paint is.
Okay, thank you.
So yes, you know, they're thick, but the color may, you know, but they're actually transparent, not even
Yes,
translucent, they're transparent. Yeah. So when you add a little bit of white, and this is just to set the stage for everybody, it's not, this is probably the most technical I'm going to get, but I just feel like it's important for everybody to kind of have this in their heads. And if you don't, you know, remember it, I'm happy to repeat to you. But this is, I find, you know, when I teach, it's a one thing that people are a little bit stumped by. And it's so important. It's so key for acrylics. At the addition of a little bit of white, even, you know, won't make necessarily a lighter color unless you add quite a bit of white. Okay, so I'm just going to show you now with this white. Yeah, Batty, did you have a question?
Translucent and transparent.
Translucent means like waxy is translucent, but transparent is like crystal clear.
Okay, great.
You know, where you get a waxy color if you mix matte medium into it. But again, we don't want to get too technical, but I just want to show you now with my yellow painting on top of this pink, I'm covering it. Whereas if I did, you know, my watery yellow, I wouldn't as well. Sorry, this is still not terribly dry yet, but anyway. But that's the difference. You see how, you know, this is really see-through right to the paper. This is not. So it's just good to know that's the way that you're going to make a color be opaque.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, so obviously in a painting, you might want some areas translucent and some opaque.
That's exactly right. And I want you to all to know how to do that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because otherwise it can stump you and also get in the way. And this is also why before we have lunch, we're going to cover our 3 sheets of paper with a very watery sort of mixture of paint. And it's going to dry while we eat so that when we come back, you know, we can explore what this is like to have a color other than white to work against.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that didn't scare anybody. This whole
Nope.
thing. All right. Good. Okay. Because I know you start to get like, oh my God. No. Don't worry. I again, I do this because I hear a lot of people not knowing that you can do this. Yeah.
We're tough old broads.
Okay, good. Nobody's gonna get scared. Great. I want you all to come back after lunch. Okay. All right. So
Pelican Cove.
that is really, you know, my most important lesson today to start with. So it is now 11:13. What I think might be really good to do right now is to get started a bit. And so what I want you to do is to mix up in 3, let's see, what do I want you to do? No. All right, I'm going to have everybody mix up 1 container of a color, and I want it to be a cool color. So I said I was going to be kind of directive today. It's just to make this easy and to have people not like get like, oh my God, too worried about what color you're using. By a cool color, I mean, what, everybody? What's
Blue.
a cool color? Blue, violet, some shades of green. Yeah. So I want you to mix
A
up.
dark or a light?
Anise? No.
matter. Cool
Doesn't
color.
matter.
No, because you're adding so much water to it that it's going to be a light color. Remember, you have the white of the page. So mix up, you know, a container. I would say if you're mixing up, you know, one of these guys, one of these quart containers of yogurt, for example, you're going to probably start, you know, have maybe half of this filled with water and paint. So it's up to you how much, you know, you can always test. How dark is my color going to be? Put a little bit of it out on your piece of paper and see. If it's too light, just add more color to it. And here I am. If you have any questions while you're working, just flag me down. Then what I want you to do is, and I'm going to show you this before you get started, everybody, hold on. Because I want to demonstrate what I want you to do. Because I also want everybody to feel, you know, really comfortable that they know the next step. All right. So I'm just going to mix some color in here. Okay. All right. So I've got some color in here. It's probably a little bit too dark, so I'm going to just add a little bit of water to it. No, yeah, it's okay. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of water because I don't think there's enough for 1 sheet of paper. I'm going to just show you on 1 sheet of paper. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is my setup, everybody. Do you see how I've got my plastic on the floor, right? Okay, now I'm going to take one of my big fat brushes here and I'm going to just very, very sort of randomly cover this piece of paper. And you can leave white here and there. You know.
Adria, we
Yeah.
can't see you. We can't see the paper very well.
Okay, well, you know what, here, let me just, let's see. Gotta
That's
go.
working. That's
Okay.
better.
Okay,
That's
good.
good.
Okay, so, you can even spill this out onto your piece of paper if you want to, but I want you to feel really relaxed about getting the paper, you know, kind of covered with a color. And, you know, you don't have to go to the edges if you don't want to. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, if it's a little more randomy, that's even better. Okay, that's what I want you guys to do. All right, so go do it. And when everybody's done, just come back to your Zoom and I'll know that you're ready to go.
Adria, so it doesn't matter if the paint is opaque or transparent.
No, it should be okay. It should be transparent. I want it to be transparent.
No, I mean to start, if we pick a color that's already transparent.
Transparent. Yeah, you want to add water to your paint and keep it transparent and then just, this is basically like a stain. You're staining your piece of paper.
But if we pick like something like green gold that's already transparent, is that too transparent? Or
No,
doesn't-
no, that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just all of your paints are pretty much transparent. You know, the blues, the greens, all that stuff is already, Mary. And so I want you to do 3 sheets of this paper and just cover them all with your color. And, you know, if you get a little bit too much, just pick up your piece of paper and, you know, just kind of move it around. It's all good. And actually that gives us some interesting, you know, sort of experimental textures that you might really enjoy.
Did
So,
you say
like I
do
said,
3? Do 3
3 sheets of paper. Yeah.
with the same color?
Same color. Yeah.
Are we doing all 3 now or 1?
All 3 now.
Okay.
Yes. And then once you're done, just come back. It should take, you know, probably, I don't know, it shouldn't take long. It should take maybe 5-10 minutes at the most. If it takes longer than that, you may be thinking too much. Don't think, just do. And as you can see, we're doing 3 at the same time, not just 1. That's really important. And, you know, that's again, a way that we'll be able to go back and forth during our class to try different things on different sheets of paper simultaneously. There won't be that much pressure on this just one piece of paper. So go ahead and just relax about it, just experiment. There is no right or wrong. Just get it on there any way you can.
It's gonna take a while to mix the paint.
Well, it takes a little while, Mary. Yeah, but you know, I'm thinking 5 to 10 minutes. Once you got your color, like I said, about a half of a container of you know, half of a quart, 2 cups. 2 cups probably will be enough to get over your 3 sheets of paper. And like I said, it doesn't have to be, it shouldn't in fact be perfect at all. It should, you know, be kind of random. Let it kind of be brushy here and there. And you're going to use your nice big brush. One of the nice big brushes that you have, so that you're covering a lot of space and you're using your body. You know, you're using your arm. You're not using your fine motors, your fingers. It's mostly from your shoulder.
Adrian?
Yeah.
Adrian?
Yeah.
Is this too light?
It's a little light, maybe a little bit more color, and you know, you can just dribble it in right there.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm just gonna
Sure.
put some direct on it and spread it on the wet
Awesome.
surface.
Perfect. Sounds great. Yep.
How
Perfect.
do people have their paint mixed already? I'm not that fast.
Mary, don't you know, just right out of the tube or right out of your bottle, just.
No, it's from my tube.
and mix it with water? That shouldn't take so long. No? There you go.
Well-
You got it.
No, but it's all lumpy.
Oh, well, just stir it for a while. Yeah, just stir. And if it's a little lumpy, it's actually okay too, because that will give you interesting texture. Again, we kind of work with what we got. Sometimes.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm feeling very rushed. I don't think it's gonna happen in 10 minutes with me. and the
okay,
way
well, all right, well, you know what, do the most you can, do the best you can. And if you have to have to catch up a little bit later, that's totally fine.
I'm wondering how people have their mix so fast. All right, here we go. But this isn't enough, right? Okay.
No, that's good. That should be plenty.
It's only like a half a cup.
Oh, really? Okay, then your best. I can't see it so well for me.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Okay,
more.
you want about 2 cups of water. So add a little more water to that, it'll be great. Okay, then we're actually going to have time to get into some of our other processes before lunch, and we're going to break around noon for approximately half an hour. If you guys all think that's enough.
Oh, that's more than
Yeah.
enough.
Is that more than
Yeah.
enough? Okay, well, whatever. Yeah, you can do
Okay.
less if you want.
Adria, what about drip? I mean, what about, oh, you said drips, and what about like splashes?
Awesome. Do
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah, do whatever. Just the idea that we have, a nice kind of a staining effect on this piece of paper, and it allows us to have a background, something other than white to work on,
Oh,
which is always the challenge, right?
and also you didn't do, can I see yours again?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Adria, I just want to say, because I put some of the direct paint,
Yep,
some places are darker, but I like that.
that's fine. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, this is the place where happy accidents happen. We want to invite serendipity. We want to invite chance, right? And that's part of what happens, and this is like part of the science experiment too. What happens when you have this much water and this much paint and this kind of paper, how it absorbs here and not there, is it rainy outside? Is it dry? Is it, all these things, humidity and temperature and
To get more.
Okay.
I love the freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, but like just.
Yeah, so we're not going to be using our opaque quite yet, but we will be doing it this afternoon. And that's why I wanted to, make sure that you guys all had a kind of an understanding about, when you add white. So, but not not right now. Right now it's just water. Just water in a darker color, a cool color. Yeah.
So my color's not cool because green gold is very light. Oh, well.
That's fine. We'll have you be our experiment to see what happens when it was, a little bit of a warmer color. It's fine, Mary.
Yeah.
Fine.
So can I show you? Wait a minute. All right, this is what I've done so far. So should I
Yeah.
cover?
I would say that you might want to cover just a bit more because, it's a lot of white. I think one of the things that we're trying to do is also to say, to not have so much white to deal with, which is, like I said, sometimes it's an issue when you get started. We think, we're just going to work on a white sheet of paper, but sometimes it's not, sometimes it's like too much white. So.
Okay, but that's often a way I work, that there's a lot of white and I like it. But wait, I have a question. What's the next step that we're doing on top of it?
When they dry, I'll be telling you about that when we get there. I don't want
Okay.
to spoil the surprise.
It helps though. All right.
No. No, I don't want you to overthink. So just do the best you can. But yes, I would say that if you're used to doing things one way, allow this weekend to be a time when you don't do things the way you always do them. Okay, embrace the unknown here. We're gonna take a walk on the wild side. That's what I love about art making is that it's where else are you allowed to do whatever the hell you want to? Nobody cares. You know, just do something crazy. You know, it's all good. Nobody's laughing. Uh-oh.
I'm laughing.
Are you laughing on the inside?
So Adrian, can I just show you what I have down?
Yes.
Okay. These are is this?
That's great. Perfect. Yep. You did it.
Okay.
Awesome. 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 Yeah.
I found I had fun putting some blobs on the paper
Yeah.
because then I got different tones of the transparent blue.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So when everybody is finished, let me see you.
It's good. Give it a cool.
So, you know, I definitely want to make sure that people have gotten at least one done, you know, and we have about a half an hour before we have a little bit of a lunch break. So you can always go back, you know, if you need more time to work on it, you know, and I would also say that maybe during lunch, just to speed up some of the drying, if you have big puddles, just, you know, take a paper towel and just absorb. You don't have to do it now. But if you end up with, you know, a place that just got a little too wet, you don't need to have a puddle. You don't need it, you know.
Okay, so just kind of, or I picked up the paper and let it roll
Perfect.
around.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Remember, these are, again, you know, just we're trying to get it down and, you know, down pretty quickly so that we can move through this whole thing pretty quickly. So, you know, on your own, this might be a step that you do, you know, a day before you start your work, you know, so it has plenty of time. And then, you know, certainly when the paint pools and dries in a place where there's more of it, you know, you get some other kinds of effects that might be really fun to do. But for our purposes today, we're just trying to get you know, smash that paint color on there. Okay, how are we doing? We have almost everybody ready?
I have a question, Adrian.
Sure.
I've got Arnheim paper.
Yeah.
Is that thinner than Reeves?
I don't know. I think maybe it is a little,
Okay, just wondering.
but I don't know for sure because there's different weights, you know, of all these brands. How does it feel? Pretty good to you?
I think so. I probably have the thinner one of Arnheim.
I would say the heavier. I would go if you have a choice between thinner or thicker. If thicker might be better is because of the absorbency.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have thicker, so, but this is okay.
Good. All right. Looks to me like everybody is ready to go. All right. So now we're going to switch gears. And those of you who have worked before with me will be familiar that I love contour line drawing. So we are going to do some contour line painting. But first, let me show you a little video about what that entails. First of all, how many of you are familiar with contour line drawing? Some familiar or some way or other? Just raise your hand. Okay, so some people are not. So let me do this. Let me share my screen and take this down. Okay, let's go to our. You know what? Let me just stop share for a second because I need to find this video before we look at it. Meanwhile, I'm hoping that everybody sort of enjoyed our little dip into the down and dirty, smash the paint on, don't worry about it effort. I don't know if that was really new for you or not. So let me just find this a second here. um, okay, so let me stop this here for a second. And all right. Okay, so this is a short video that I made there's no sound to it. It's going to demonstrate to you this idea of contour line. And in this video, I am using a marker, but we're going to be using our paintbrushes, and I'm going to show you that demonstration live. So, but first, let me just talk about contour lines are the lines that are that describe an object. And what we're doing here is we're not trying to draw realistically. What we're trying to do here, the point of this whole thing, is to get information. So that rather, let me just stop this for a second. I don't want to talk to you about this. Rather than just kind of going to our own imaginations for lines, which only goes so far. You know, we need input as artists. We all do. And you know, I don't care how many years you've been doing it or whether you're just new, you need a place to start. So I like to go to this contour line drawing because it is so immediate. And the purpose of it really is about seeing. So we're going to go back here. All right, we're going to start this. So this has no sound, so I'm going to like narrate this whole thing. So here I am showing you a keychain, like my keys, which are impossible, and just like saying, you're just going to look at it and look at the edges. So contour line is all about looking at inches. And what we're going to be doing here is a way of drawing where we're not interested in the outcome. What we're interested in is seeing. So it's a very slow looking at the edges of an object. And as you can see, it's one continuous line, moving very, very slowly and trying to draw wherever I see an edge. And it's kind of like unraveling a big ball of yarn so that we're not trying to retrace, we're not trying to sketch. It's really not sketching. It is as if you are a little tiny ant crawling along the edges of an object. And your eyeball is like trying to trace the edges that you see. So the end result is a drawing that is kind of wonky, and that's the point. We're looking for information to give us interesting line, a line that is not predictable. You're drawing an object that may have some resemblance to the object you're drawing, but it's not the end result. The end result is not about a photographic representation at all. It's about your experience looking at the object. So as you can see, I'm just, you know, paying attention to the little tiny, I can't even see where I'm drawing on this thing, but, you know, looking at my line here, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's the bottom of the keys. And then I'm going to get back up to the top. So again, it's not, you don't lift your brush or your drawing tool. You keep it going as you are exploring.
And
your
only the outside edges.
Not just the outline, but also whatever lines you happen to see within an object. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do it live for you. All
Okay.
right, so that's, yes, I will do plenty of this explanation here. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this off just to give you a little bit of a peek about what that was. Now what I want to do is show you live what that looks like. And so I'm going to get my sheet of paper here.
Adria, are you looking at your paper while you're doing this?
I'm only looking.
Wait,
at
or
it.
you're not looking at?
I'm not
your-
looking at my paper. So this
Right,
is, yeah,
okay.
this is a kind of contour line drawing we're going to call blind contour.
Okay.
And I'm
Oh,
doing this very specifically because I want you guys to not be anxious about what it looks like. I simply want you to use this object, whatever it is that I'm actually going to have you, I think, use your own hands as your object. So now watch me what I'm going to do next. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to squeeze some paint and I'm going to use a dark color. You can use black, you can use dark blue, you can use, some kind of a darker color. And you may need to add a little bit of water if you just have the heavy body paints, as I think Janice said she does, or a few other people do. So you're also going to have like a little bit of a drippy thing. The idea is to get consistency of your paint that is kind of like ink. All right. So before you do this, though, watch me as I move forward through this. All right. So now, okay.
Excuse me, are we going to do this on the paper we already
No.
tinted? Or, okay, separate.
Okay, yes. So what I'm going to have you do, okay, we're going to take by the way, let me just preface this by saying that we may use both sides of all your paper during this class. So, and that's actually fine. Like, it doesn't really matter because we're going to be using all of it in various ways all the time. So, but I still want you to go right directly to your good paper because I want you to get over your fear of the damn good paper. I don't want you to feel afraid of it. I want you to feel like just jump right in. But I do want you to pay attention to, the ways in which, this next step is going to happen because there is a particular thing that I want you to do. I do want you to have something to look at while you're drawing it, but this is what I want you to do. Okay, so first let me show you at my desk because it's a little easier, but I'm going to have you actually do this right on your big piece of paper and do it while you're standing up. Okay, so here's my hand. Okay. I'm positioning myself so I'm not looking at my piece of paper, all right? And my hand, I'm going to just take a little bit of a relaxed, not my hand outstretched because that's not interesting. I'm having my hand kind of just very relaxed, my fingers kind of overlapping, all right? Now, I'm sitting over here and I'm looking at my hand. And here's my brush in my other hand. I'm going to just start on my hand and I'm hardly holding this paintbrush. I'm just allowing it to, with the weight of gravity, guide my marks. I do not care what I'm drawing. It's not important. What we're just doing here is we're using our hand and we're using this technique to get some lines down on the piece of paper.
Can you put your hand a little lower? Your other hand that you're drawing. Yeah.
Talk, Adria, because I lost you on speaker view.
Yeah,
Oh,
it would be
fair enough.
really good if people muted themselves so that we could stay with Adria. Because any sound makes.
That's a good
us
idea.
really-
Yeah, if you can mute. All right, well, so I am finished with this drawing. It didn't take very long.
Adrian,
But
You get enough paint to stay on the brush to be able to do all of that.
a lot of water in there. Lot of
And
water.
if you have the liquid paint, not the high flow, the liquid acrylic. Should we still dilute that one too?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so let me just describe to you again. So as you can see, this, doesn't look particularly like my hand. It doesn't matter. We are using this technique to get unpredictable and not overworked kind of line. A line that is confident, a line that's not sketchy. It's a line that comes directly from my experience. Now, I'm going to stand up and do this again, because remember, we talked about the bodily experience in this working large. That's so important. We so many times, I think art making gets reduced to this, and we don't use our bodies. So this is the expressivity of you, and the individuality of you yourself making this line. Nobody else could do it. So watch me. I'm hoping that you can all see this on a bigger scale. And I'm just going to turn my piece of paper over on this side, because I don't care. And you see that something else is on the other side anyway. So it doesn't, this is like, this is a piece of BFK that I have, and I'm just going to be using it. All right. So everybody see pretty well?
yeah,
Okay. So now watch this when I stand up. It's gonna be tricky. So here's my hand. All right. Can you see me now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I have my hand here. I've got my fingers. My thumb is kind of overlapped. I got my brush, and I'm just going to start in a place here. And my focus is on my hand. I don't care what kind of lines are coming out on the sheet of paper. It doesn't matter. The point is that I'm looking very closely at my hand, and I'm not picking up my brush. My brush, you may need to go get some more paint on your brush, which is fine. Just try to bring it back to where you were when you started, right? And you see how big I'm working? You see how my hand is really controlled by my shoulder, not my fingers? This is what I want you to try. It's really fun. It's wild. Just give up control. Give
can
up
we do
control.
on the table standing, because some of us can't do that position very well.
Yes, absolutely. You can do it while you're sitting, but I just wanted to, emphasize that you want to try to get the motion from your shoulder. That,
Okay.
your fingers are the least involved in this whole process. It's your eyes and, your shoulder and your, and to give up the grip on the paper. So I want you guys to do 5 big contour line drawings of your hand, 5 different sheets of paper. Okay, using a brush.
Do you want us to start using 5 separate pieces of paper, or do
Yes,
back?
5 separate pieces of paper. Yeah.
If I have acrylic ink within reach, can I
Yeah.
use that?
Yeah.
Okay.
In your hand, is that a brush?
This is a
Alex?
brush that I love to use.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everybody, because I want us all to kind of have this private time, play with it. And if you have any particular problem with yourself, just reach out to me. Okay. So I want you to try it. I don't, just do it. It's not a big deal one way or the other. Just try. Janice, did you have a major question? Yeah.
Yeah, so get rid of the paper we've used and put out 5 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just move it aside. And you can, yeah, whatever is comfortable for you. But the point is, now you're finding a new source of line here. And it's a line that you can always reliably, go to for new inventive kinds of marks. And that's the point. It's not out of our head. It's really you're responding to something else. You're responding to your hand. You're looking at your hand and you're simply drawing the contours. It's not just the outline, you know, and of course you're making decisions as you're painting because the paintbrush isn't like a marker. It doesn't have the ability to capture every single little detail. It's not detail, but that's the point. It's a nice big brush that you're using from your shoulder, and it's kind of a macro approach, not a micro approach. All right, so there's no right or wrong, just try it. I encourage you to have fun with it. Put on some loud music wherever you are, if you need to do that. And I'm also going to tell you that we need to be done in 15 minutes. Only 15. I'm going to make you guys come back, so I want you to work fairly quickly.
Hey, Adria,
Yes.
your brush didn't look very wide on the screen, was it?
No,
I had one
Oh,
yesterday.
but you want us to
Same
use a
color.
wider,
I want you to use whatever brush you want.
oh, said big, so I was just wondering.
Adria, what about high flow acrylic?
You can use that.
Oh, okay, then I don't have to water it down
That's
at
right. You
all?
don't. Yeah, not everybody has it though, so I didn't. Yeah,
Okay, or what about ink?
you can use ink.
Oh, okay. So I could try, I could try everything.
Yeah. Yep. Mhm. All right, gonna mute everybody. It's just so we have some time to just kind of work on our own and engage with this process. The judge is not in the room. You're asking yourself the question the whole time, you know, what is this like? What does this feel like? This is interesting. Challenge yourselves and just relax into it.
Are we doing 3 or 5?
5.
Oh, back to the old drawing board. This is so much fun.
Are you done, Ree? You finished? Okay. All right, we're gonna give people 5 more minutes. Just 5 more minutes to complete this, because I, again, don't want people to, getting overworking and overthinking, really, is the more appropriate phrase there. We're gonna practice not overthinking. Okay, how are we doing, everybody? Yeah, good. All right, are people still working? How are we doing? Let me know. You have to unmute yourselves because I just muted everybody for the class.
I have 2 left.
Okay, so you know what, let's come together because I want to just say that we're going to take a short lunch break. And if you need to finish up anything, this is a perfect time to do that. But I'm really hoping that you don't, again, don't overthink, just try and finish it up and get it done. Shall we say that we'll come back in, I don't know what, half an hour is too long?
20
20
minutes.
minutes?
20
20.
minutes, yeah.
20.
Yeah,
20
we're
minutes sounds
we're
good.
so anxious to get to the next step.
Okay, good. All right, so 20 minutes, so give me a little time to catch up too. And great, so I will see you back at about 12:20. And yeah, have a nice little break. Get yourself fortified for the next 2 hours, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, I'm back. We're back. Go ahead and unmute yourselves. So I hope you had a little chance to eat a bit and get a little sustenance for the afternoon.
What am I gonna miss at 1 o'clock?
Ooh, who
I'm
has-
not,
Ree, are you leaving?
I have to leave at 1 to, believe it or not.
Well, I don't know. Depends. We're going to be going back into our pieces that we've done this morning. And in a variety of ways.
Darn.
Well, yeah, this is all recorded, so you can just catch up, I'll send everybody the link. Yeah, I'm gonna send everybody the link this afternoon and, give you some thoughts about what you can think about between now and,
Oh,
tomorrow.
perfect.
So
Perfect.
yeah,
Thank
you'll
you
catch
so
up.
much.
Yeah, not to
Thanks.
worry. Yeah. Okay, glad to see everybody. Go ahead and unmute so that I can, hear your feedback about what this was like this morning. And talk about what comes next. Hi, Lisa. Did you want to say something?
I think that Betty might be trying to get in. She hasn't contacted me, but she did register.
Okay, well, I don't see her trying to. get
Okay.
in here.
No problem. She probably just registered when she was on a break from work.
Ah,
Lisa, I've been texting with her and she said she's probably not going to make it today.
Oh, no.
I know, but she didn't say for sure, but she said probably not.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Okay. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, you're
All right.
Okay, so let's get back to it. I want to hear from you what this was like to do any of these things this morning, and how, if especially the contour line drawing. What kinds of thoughts did you have? Did you allow that judge in to the door, or did you? keep them
Yes.
out? You did.
Yeah.
Wow. Get them out. Slam that door.
I didn't find.
A little bit it came creeping, but
Yeah.
I don't usually get to use my floor because I have puppies running around. But I did get to use it, and I liked doing that. I put
Good.
yeah. Yeah, that was cool. To
Ellen,
really
you
be able to
long
swing
brush.
your body.
Yeah.
Ellen, you have such a long brush that it really must be fun to use it on the floor.
Well, I was actually going to show everybody that I hitched up a little thing that you could try, which is just to take a old wooden spoon, and I taped my brush to it so that I have another way of using something that's nice
Great
and
idea.
long.
Great
Yeah.
idea.
So, but if you can, handle this kind of a position, and I know some people cannot bend over like that. It's
See my brush?
yes, awesome. Oh my God, look at that. Are you lucky? Holy moly.
It's insane.
It is insane. Oh my God.
Whack!
I know. Where did you get that, Ree?
I got online.
Oh my Lord.
It actually comes apart.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's Chinese. I have one, Ree, that I've had for
You have one?
years. I've been afraid to use it.
I immediately went over to my gallery and started painting everything I saw with a big splash of red.
Awesome. So anyway, there are ways. I was going to say that a little physical discomfort, if you can handle it, is actually kind of an interesting, thing to add to the picture. I'm often really sore when I'm done working in the studio, and it's a it's a good workout, and it feels that I'm really engaging in all the ways with my work. But I totally get it if that's something that's too difficult, really impossible. But there are other ways that you can get away from the small motor stuff into just kind of changing it up and shifting out to your whole body. Anyway, so anybody else? Just a few comments I'd like to hear about what this was like. Anne, yeah.
I definitely put the judge out of the room.
Great, that's great.
And I kind of look at it afterwards and go, oh my God.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was fun,
That's great.
and I love just painting, just covering the paper when we did the original, the 3 pages. That was great.
that's great. I mean, it is.
That
It's
was
a
fun.
whole
Oh, I
other- I
forgot
think
to
if you're
do
not used to working this way, it can be, yeah, very
Yeah.
free. Maddie.
I loved doing the blind contour drawing. And I
Good.
knew contour drawing, but I used to get mixed up until you said there's blind contour
Yeah.
and contour. Now I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
So I've done it before and you get such interesting
Yes.
that you'd never get, like you said before, about you need somewhere to start. This was
Yes.
so fabulous. I
That's
loved it.
great. I mean, that's right. It's, as I said before, we are inviting chance into this whole aspect. You can see that a lot of what we're doing is, kind of, we're letting go of control. And that's also something that, is hard to do. And we think that that's a bad thing. But, in this context, it really is. Again, look back to think, think historically, this is so interesting to see, the abstract expressionists embracing this, what was just so outrageously new and, it didn't seem to require that skill, that academic skill that had been so long revered, but we have a camera now. So you don't need to have that to be expressive. And, all the new materials that are available to us to allow us to tap into this other kind of language. It really is a language. It's just as valid as the academic, but I say academic, I mean, the kind of training that used to be thought necessary to become an artist, which was, highly skilled draftsman, drafts ability, but you don't need that. Mary.
What was really helpful and was a new bodily sensation for me was holding the brush at the end.
Yes.
That was,
Yeah.
it felt great. And that was new. Thank you.
Yeah, great. And it's also about trusting yourself, that you can do this and just by holding on a little bit, you can, allow the brush's gravity and the cool mark making that comes from when you just let it do its thing. Anybody
Yeah.
else that we haven't heard from? Janice? Yeah.
Yes, like I felt relaxed and free doing the blind. Then
Great.
when I looked at it, that's when the real judge came in. Only because it's not, I had hoped it would be kind of more interesting. I feel like I have like fat sausages out there. But then I said, okay, well, let's see what that turns into. And I kind of let it go.
Yes.
Because I mean, I don't know about other people, but I wasn't doing like the creases in my hands. I think it was more, had I done that, the shapes would have been more interesting.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You know what? You're going to see we're layering and layering these things. So do not worry about any of the stuff that we're doing. And also, I love your attitude. Just reserve your judgment. It doesn't have to be judged. It's just, it is what it is. And we're going to work with it because we need something to work with. Anything.
Right.
We could have put, I don't know, a number of odd things. But, it is important to show you, that we can find so much in the outside world, not to draw realistically, but just for ideas. Also color ideas, by looking around, by getting outside of ourselves, that's where we're going to find, the gold mines in terms of all kinds of things that we might not have thought about. Because none of us have everything in our heads, it's not possible. Okay, anybody else? No? All right, so we're going to proceed. All right, so we're going to continue to work on these pieces that we started this morning in various ways. And so the first thing that I'd like us to do is we're going to go back to the first 3 ones now, and presumably they're dry enough. Did anybody find big puddles, and were you able to just like sop up the worst of the puddle? Okay, so it's more or less dry. Yeah. What I'd like you to do now is I want you to use the complementary color that you used to begin with and mix it up very thinly as well. All right. So let me walk you through this and then you can go do it on your own, all right? So going back to my pieces here. So I've been using what seems to be a sort of turquoisey blue. Now complementaries might be new for some people. They are actually the color that is on the opposite of it from on the opposite color on the color wheel from your color. So let's see here. Let me share my screen and just get a little color wheel out here real quick. So let's see here. Let's just grab a color wheel. There we go. Color wheel. There he is. There we have it. So, whoops. If my turquoise blue, I looked across the way, what is my complement? Orange, right? If you were using green-ish, your complement would be red
Magenta.
violet or magenta, exactly. So, you know, this is not to spend a lot of time with a color, but, you know, one of the things that's great to know is that, you know, when you're thinking about contrasts, complementary colors are wonderful to know about in so many ways. You know, we don't have time to get through a whole color kind of discussion here, but, you know, just to say that that's a little clue that, you know, getting into color, you know, can really open up lots of possibilities for you here. So I'll just leave this on the screen. We can come back to it later. Okay, so I'm going to mix up my complement, which I have yellow already started. So to make a little bit of orange, I'm going to add a little bit of magenta. I could add red, but also could add magenta. Magenta is this magic color that I'd ask you to get because without it, you really can't get a very convincing violet. So I'm just going to add a couple of drops of my magenta here. And
Excuse me, Adria,
yeah,
I'm confused because yours was a blue. So the complementaries in the orange family, right?
yeah,
Okay,
making
so you're
orange.
making, oh, you're making orange. Okay,
yes, I mixed magenta into my yellow.
okay.
Yeah. So I've got a
Okay.
kind of orange here. I'm not going to worry too much about, you know, specialties.
Right.
And
Do you
how
want us to mix it also really drippy?
yes. Okay, but watch me before you do anything else. So the
Oh.
instructions are that I would like you to do, you know, this similar kind of, you know, quite watery paint because we're going to do another transparent layer on top of what you did. Now, I want you to try it. If you have the room, it would be great for you to line up your 3 pieces of paper side by side. And the directions are, okay, you might want to write this down. It's not that hard, but we're going to do 3 ovals on each sheet of paper. And yeah, nice big ovals. Where you put them is up to you, but I'm going to show you how this is going to look. So everybody can see me pretty well? Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, what we're doing is we are simplifying. You know, I said to use ovals. I could have also said just do whatever. But I think what I want to show you is that as you're building layers, it's not a bad idea to kind of go macro, you know? So you think big, big, big to smaller, to smaller, to smaller, to detail at the very end, you know, that might end up being quite small. So I want to keep my macro going, but I want to give a little bit of definition here. So randomly, I mean, I love ovals. It's a shape I use all the time in my own work, but I'm not going to use them all the same size. I have a consistent, you know, theme, oval, but I don't necessarily need to do them all the same size. In fact, doing them all the same size might be kind of boring. So we don't want to do boring here. And they don't have to be all smack in the middle of this design. So I'm going to utilize my edges here. So I think I'm going to do a big sort of oval that's going to go right off the page.
We can't see you.
Yeah, we can't see that, Adria.
Now we can.
Oh,
Okay, so one of my ovals is gonna go right off the page here. Just because I want to show you that that's possible. You don't have to make it all kind of like, smack in the middle. So there's one, and you can see that the transparency allows a whole other color to be made when the orange is on top of the blue. This would not be possible if you were using a thick or opaque paint, right? So at this beginning, that's what we want to do. I'm going to do my next big oval. I'm going to make it super big, and I'm going to put it over here.
No. Spotsworth, no.
Somebody's got to.
Oh, you mean 3 ovals on each page?
That's too, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
thought, I didn't understand that either.
And then the little is, I'm gonna do a little one right up here. Now, on each sheet of paper, you're going to arrange your ovals in different ways. Now, some of them could go sideways. I just decided not to do that on this one. But here I go, and I'm working fast, and I'm just gonna get them down. So that's what I want you guys to do now. Mix up your complementary color, nice and fluidy, nice and watery, and go ahead and paint 3 big ovals on each of your 3 big paintings.
Got it.
All right, so go do it. And this should take you about 5 minutes. Don't overthink it, just do it.
Would the foam brush work well for this?
Yep.
We may need just, oh, boy.
I heard that.
Just do it.
Oh,
Maybe-
boy.
You said 5 minutes, but first we have to mix up our paint.
Oh, well, whatever,
Okay,
quick. Yeah, what I'm saying is, yeah, try to like move right through this.
right.
Don't slave away. I'll put the color wheel on my screen again in case you need a little reminder. There we go.
Adria, can you just use the outline or you want it all filled in?
Filled in, yep, because we really want to see what those colors do when they're right on top of each other. We want to see that beautiful transparency.
My underneath color, I think, is too pale.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. It's just like, well, that's kind of interesting. Okay, next time I know that I can make it darker. Again, don't worry about any of this. We are going to be, very much in the process of changing and changing and changing.
What about dry brush?
No, just. a
No,
nice
oh,
big-
you want it filled in.
I want it filled in, foam.
Oh,
Foam. Yeah, foam is great. Yep. Because I don't want any, yeah, I want us to just, see what happens when you're using this, full on watered down paint and see what happens when the colors are shine through each other. Because I think that is something that people forget about, that's possible and, often is missed in painting classes where we're so concerned about, trying to paint or draw what's in front of us. Okay, how are you doing?
All done.
All
Well done.
righty. I wonder if everybody could, if you're able to do this, can you just show us with your camera onto your floor? Or just hold it up? Yeah, Ellen, great. Yep.
Oh, were we supposed to do this on 3 pages?
Yeah.
I only did it on 1. Okay.
Okay, so here's mine.
Great.
Okay.
Great, everybody. Yeah, super, super. Yeah, it just, yeah, let's see all 3 of them together. So if it's possible, what I would love for you to do is to now think of these 3 as an entire piece.
Whoa,
Yeah.
wow.
I just blow your minds.
Yeah,
Wow, you did.
go for it. Blow me away.
So yes, you have,
Wow.
if you want, you have a large piece, even larger than you thought. Because
Yeah.
there's consistency and, a design element that is continuous throughout. Great, thank you, Kathy, for showing. If everybody else, can you just, yeah.
Do your
great,
best.
Roxanne,
Do your
yeah.
best.
I know not everybody can do it because your space might not work, but it's great to just see. Yeah, lovely, just to make sure that we're on the same page. Looks great. And Bree, how are you doing?
Wait. Oh, I got it.
Oh, no. Yes, beautiful. Okay, great, everybody. So, yeah, love. All right. And that's, I'm not making any statement about the judging the work. I'm saying it's great because you guys are all, on the same page with me. Yeah, it looks like you're all, you've got this where I'd like it to be. Super. Okay.
Space is not big enough for this.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
I know.
You
Well,
wanna- Whoops.
it's okay. If you can still do one at a time. I'm just saying that if this is one thing to do is to then, suddenly you've got a much larger piece. If you can, keep the 3 pieces as they're working, having some similarities, some kind of consistency throughout. You can even do it, 2 of them together or just do one off, one off is fine. Okay, so we're going to put those aside and let them dry for a little while. And now what I'd like you to do is to go to your contour line paintings, and with the same color, I would like you now to also put down 3 ovals anywhere on the hand painting that you did. So the same kind of thing.
Color as we used before.
Yeah, just use the same color. There's no reason to change because as you see, we're switching out all the time. But since you've got the color already made, go ahead now and see what happens when you again use this continuation of the oval as your main design. And it's up to you how big and where you put them. Just go intuitively and don't overthink.
All right, so 3, you said 3 on each.
3 on each. Yes, so 15 altogether, 15 ovals, 3 on each of the 5. And then-
Adria, I have a question
Yeah,
about application.
yeah,
Use the foam brush.
Yep.
It's very streaky.
that's okay. Let it go.
No, but I mean, is there a way to use the foam brush where it's not streaky?
More water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if it's tricky, I would say let that be something kind of cool,
I like the streaks.
Yeah. There's no judgment. There's no like should or shouldn'ts in this. It's just, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and that is again, keeping the judge out. Like it shouldn't have to be anything. It's just, it is what it is, depending on, what you did. But yes, if you want less streaky, you can just add a little bit more water to it. But again, I wouldn't let that worry you. So again, we're kind of trying to, move around that white space so that there's more than just white on the paper. But this is like the reverse. Instead of starting with a color, we are adding another color to basically white sheet of paper with the drawing on it. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's say stop at 1. That's 15 minutes. So again, just knock it out, knock them out. Don't overthink.
So much fun not to think.
Don't think. Okay, again, I just muted everybody, just because it gets a little distracting, so that you can be in your own spaces and just kind of think on your own. Hey, looks like some of us are finished. That's really good. Yeah, excellent. So I think we're not overthinking. That's excellent. Great. All right. Go ahead and unmute yourselves again, if you don't mind. So I can hear from you.
Hello.
Great.
Are we doing 5 of those?
5. Yeah.
I don't know how people work so quickly.
Well, this is
I'm just trying to get the paint down.
all right. Well, it's good practice, Mary, because yeah, you know, it is a way to stop the thinking, you know, working quickly and working through it. So as you can see now, just to kind of loop back to what we were talking about earlier this morning, that this process of moving through things in stages and keeping several going and several moving through rather than banging your head, you know, on just one precious little piece, that is conducive to stopping that judging because you don't have time. The other thing that you're noticing is that I am prescribing to you. I am saying, okay, now do this, now do that. You can do the very same thing on your own. You can write up a list. In fact, I have the lesson that I call this actually is recipe painting, you know, where or rule-based painting, where you have, you know, a list. You made a list for yourselves of like actions, like, you know, do this and then do this and do this and do this and do this. You know, it's just like, and what it does is it gets you away from this scary thought of like, well, I don't know what I'm painting about.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to know what you're painting about at the beginning. You don't. That is part of the editing process. That is not part of the doing process, at least in this kind of, you know, approach, right? Okay, so I just wanted to, you know, show you that there is a method to my madness. All right. Now, I'm going to show you a very cool process. 2 new things I think I'll show you at the same time so that, you know, when we then go back to the work, you can kind of go and let this, you know, happen at your own pace. So one of the things that I really love to do is to incorporate printing techniques in my painting. And again, this is a way to you know, make marks without your paintbrush, you know, the scary paintbrush. And also paintbrushes are so limited in terms of what they do. I mean, you know, in many ways they are. So let me show you a couple of different things that you can try that are really fun and could, you know, give you some interesting possibilities to add to this work. So what I'm going to use is simply, you know, this is a sheet of paper that, this is basically a piece of white drawing paper, you know, and I'm just, and, you know, you could easily, I think, you know, do this with your good sheets. It just depends on what you want to do, but this is a little smaller and it's a little easier for me to handle to show you. But what this involves is, it's pretty kind of funny, but we're going to be going back. We're going to use, this is best done with thicker paint. Does everybody here have some kind of thicker paint?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. All right.
Heavy
So
body?
that's good. Yeah, heavy body paint. Yeah. Because this is really best done with some kind of heavier paint. So I'm going to grab a color. Let's see, what am I going to grab? I'm going to grab. I know, it should be easier. All right, I'm gonna use, whatever. I use Pyrrole Red again. All right. So I was looking for another color, but I don't have it. All right, so here is our Pyrrole Red, not what I used before. And what I'm gonna do is squeeze on it a significant amount of paint. Okay. Does everybody see how much paint I have on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What color is that, Adrian?
So this is Pyrrole Red.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a pretty gorgeous color. All right, and then I'm going to show you what's going to happen. I'm going to take this over to my see me here? Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is kind of random, but I'm going to put this down, face down on my sheet of paper. So it's got a lot of paint on here. And initially, I'm going to say I would otherwise smush all the way down, but I think I'm just going to be aware that I have quite a lot of paint. You know, it really depends on what you have. But let me see. I'm going to put one here and press on the back of it, just kind of transfer that. And I have no idea what I'm going to get, but let me just see. Ooh.
Nice.
I have,
That's
a hint.
nice.
I have so much more paint on here, but I can easily put another one down in the corner here. And again, I'm not pressing all the way down. You know, it really depends again on how much paint you have. When you're toward the end of using it up, you may have to like push a little bit harder. But because it's, you know, yeah. So there you go. Now I've got two, and I'm going to put one more. And on this one, I'm going to try what happens if I do it vertically in a space. So let me just try maybe one that goes right off the page.
Nice.
And let's see what I got here. So this is such a cool way to transfer, you know, I'm going to do another one up here in the corner too, because I kind of didn't get quite enough on that one. Try to transfer an image without a brush that has, you know, a very interesting look. And also I'm noticing that when I pull my paint up, it's also making a really interesting sort of ridge. So that's kind of cool. All right, so that's what I would like you all to try as well. So that's one of the things. And then one more thing just to say that's kind of also fun is, and this is going to be a little messier. This is going to be a bit messy, but that is a way to get some little spatters on your painting. So in this case, I'm going to take my magenta. This is fluid paint. It is already, it's less, you know, sticky than the other heavy body, but it will also need a little bit of water, not as much as you needed earlier, but a little bit, because part of this depends on the paint being able to spatter. All right, so we're doing kind of a spattering technique. Okay, so this is my paint. There's not a lot of paint, but it's moderately, you know, it's not as watery as it was earlier when we were doing it, but it's not super thick. All right, so this is basically, oops, sorry. We're gonna just tap the brush, or even just, you know, sort of spatter the brush so that you have also some interesting spots. So that's a way to get texture, again, without, you know, drawing it out. And the other thing you can do is you could put another sheet of paper on that and press it out and find that you actually have maybe more interesting spots than you had if they're just little dots. They're just going to get a little bit fatter and wider when you blot them. So, you know, that is kind of an interesting thing to try. Oh, this might be Betty. Okay, so that's what I would love for you to play with now. Making some sort of monoprint marks.
Oh, hi, Betty.
And going ahead and pressing those marks onto our first 3 pieces.
Okay.
I have to leave now, but thank you.
All right,
I'll
bye, Reed.
catch up with the video.
Okay, great.
But
Great.
Adria,
Thank you.
you spattered onto the cheap drawing paper. You didn't spatter onto.
Oh, I meant to. Yeah, I meant the judge wanted to show everybody how to do it. It's
Oh,
harder to
okay.
see. But yeah, so the spattering is also fun. So let's go ahead and use both of those techniques. Go back to your first, the initial 3 that we did, because those are ones that are in the drawing process and they're ready to accept, this painting, this other edition. So I would say, make yourself another, I don't know what to call this, that's a template, using thick paint. Go ahead and, take that heavy body and really squirt it out there. Some kind of a shape or mark. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You could do straight lines, you could do, anything.
What,
It's
what
the
about,
practice.
what about what color?
Oh, what color? Oh, we didn't talk about that. Let's go back to the same color or a similar color that you started with. That would be interesting to now go back to the first color. So if you started with a cool color, blue or green or whatever, get some of that coming out of a tube or mix it, don't worry about mixing. I would say if you have it close enough in your tube, just use it right out of the tube and squirt it on there.
So if we started with like aquamarine blue, do the solid aquamarine blue.
Yeah. So another way to keep the paintings, let's see, how do I want to say this?
Harmonious.
Yeah, harmonious, or to have sort of a natural affinity between all 3 of these, and also, within, not that we won't add other things later, is not a bad idea. It's a very good idea to try that.
Hey,
So-
Adrian, I'm sorry,
Oh,
wait,
I
I'm
did
sorry.
our second color. Is that okay to use the second complementary color?
It's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was just suggesting, so, someone said what color to use. It would be a very good choice to go back to your first color, but I could also see you using your complementary as well. I mean, honestly, you could try anything. I am not being that descriptive at this point, but going to your first color wouldn't be bad. Yeah. Wait,
Adrian?
Maddie had a question. Maddie?
Okay, so my ultramarine is kind of like messy. So if I use the phthalo, it's
Yeah, that's fine.
close, but
Perfect.
that's okay.
Perfect. It's a, similar family.
Yeah.
Again,
similar
it's not a
family, okay.
horrible thing if you used a different color, but yeah, that's a good choice. And again, it keeps us from getting stuck in, I don't know what to do. Maybe going back and forth between the complementaries, kind of keeps you from, having to get stuck. Hi, Betty. So I have the whole thing on recording, so you can watch that. Oh, Janice, hi. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I forgot when you put your squiggle down,
yep.
did you fold it and then put it on? I can't
Well, I
remember.
did just to get a smaller sheet of paper. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
and then, okay, you put down that whole thing, right?
Yeah, it's a little easier if you happen to have like a piece of cardboard or a piece
Yeah,
of.
I have a
whatever.
heavy acrylic paper.
Perfect, yeah, perfect.
Adrian, do we put the same squiggle on all 3?
I would like you to do that. I do. And again, it's a kind of a repetitive design element that's also, kind of a good thing to have that consistency through the different pieces. And let's see, we are going to reconvene at about, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do this one. And let's see how we are at 10 minutes. We can always extend it. But see, again, moving forward through it, not spending a huge amount of time pondering, thinking is a good skill to have, and will work in your favor in terms of not getting stuck, getting the judge out of the room, and keeping the flow going in your art making.
Adria, the paint's going on fairly thick. How's it going to dry?
Overnight, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Adria.
Hi.
I'm Betty.
Hi, Betty.
I'm-
Nice to meet you.
I'm sitting in my car. So if I get to my studio, it'll be half an hour or something. So maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just sit here and listen for a while and
I think
then,
so. And you know what? I recorded the whole thing for you anyway. So
Yeah,
you can do the whole thing.
I
at
will
home.
listen. Yeah, I'll listen. Yeah.
I think that's smart. Yeah, because at this point, there's some things that we had already started earlier that's going to be a little bit hard for you to, but I think watching it will be fine.
Okay. All right. So I'll tune in a few minutes, just sitting here, and
Sure.
then tomorrow I'll be there.
Sounds good. Okay,
Great.
great.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
So are we adding more ink, paint as we go because it's getting lighter?
Yeah, if you'd like to, sure. Although it's kind of interesting when it gets a little lighter too, that can really be
Yeah.
something.
That-
mean, you
that's
have-
what- That's what I found when I got to my last one. It's much fainter.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
if you're doing a series, it makes it.
It's more interesting, actually. And remember, you're doing this on all three of your pieces. So you'll have opportunity, for some of them to be lighter, to see if that resonates. Then maybe you like them darker. But again, this is all in the surface of experimentation. There is no right or wrong. There's just these variables. So again, what we're doing here is we're lifting the heavy burden of what am I painting about? It's so heavy that it keeps us from keeps us from doing it. It doesn't have to be that way. The emphasis is on the process here, and through the process, you will discover. And this is a longer term thing, of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but if you keep consistently having a practice and you keep consistently working, playing, that is, meaning will come. Meaning will come.
Adria, do you suggest if we keep doing this process,
Yeah.
staying on the real big paper, or I was thinking of like halving it, putting it in half? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. No, I think this process can be done at any size, but I think, it's, if you haven't worked this big, it is really freeing to do that.
Yeah.
And I think too, that the possibility of, grouping them, brings a whole other element, but no, any size, these instructions really do fit any size of paper that you're working. Really, they do, they really do. Yeah, so how are we doing here? Are we maybe another couple minutes and we'll just see everybody together. Yeah.
Shoot.
Oh, I forgot the spatters.
I heard that, Ellen. Yeah, try some spattering too. Spattering is kind of fun. You don't have to do it everywhere. You can just try a little bit of it here and there. But you're going to find that it will introduce another texture to our pieces, and could be something that is really fun to play with. And again, remember, this is all just experimenting. Yep. So just a couple more minutes. Okay, and whenever you're complete, just coming back to the screen, and I'll know that we can start. So a couple more minutes to do this. Okay, I think we're ready. Janice, are you there? Maddie?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
here.
you guys ready? Are you ready to continue? We did
Yeah,
the best we could. Okay, and remember, we have tonight. If you at any point want to go back in and play more, and if you don't feel like you're quite finished, that's perfectly fine. All right, I do want to do one more, at least one more little thing here today. Really taking you through your paces of so many possibilities, so many things to try. All right, so now we're going to learn the lesson about preciousness, or how to move beyond feeling precious about your work by having to cut things up. So I'm going to show you what I want to do. So just a few minutes to watch me. All right, so I'm now going back to these blind contour line drawings that we did, because we're going to wait for the other stuff to dry more. So, as you see, we have this really interesting image. It doesn't matter that it was a hand at all. You may refer to it, but but it has something of yourself in here. That's the point. One of the things that I like about it is that there is, it came from you. It's and your response to looking at your hand, and also what I love about contour line, that I always appreciate, and I always try to help my students say, this is why we do this. The line quality, which is, an art word, an art phrase, that refers to the expressivity that is inherent in a line that is handmade. It isn't like a robot did this. It isn't like a pen, a marker, that doesn't have any give or take to it, did it? It's, it's got fluctuation. It's got changes in width. You can see where I pressed more heavily. You can see where I lightened up. I mean, there's a humanity in this mark that I think, really resonates. And this will always be true with your contour line drawings. If you slow down and, allow this to just arrive, it will do it. It just will do it. And I'm such a big fan for that reason. And that's why I think it's a great place to start. But what we're going to do actually is we're going to cut up 2 of your pieces, all right? And so simply what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half, one way and half again. So this is I just use the back of my drawing pad as my piece of paper. You can fold it, nothing fancy. Don't worry about it being great. But now I'm going to cut 2 of these, 5 that you did, up into quarters. And we're going to reassemble them. And that will give us, and of course, you've already got some of the, you've got another color in yours. So you've got these additional shapes of, the ovals, and that will also be part of this new composition that we're making. So now that we have these 4 different parts, I want you to rearrange them in any way and see what new thing you make, and again, there is no right or wrong here. It's just like, well, let's try this. What about that? And it's a way to understand that, just because you made it doesn't mean that you can't cut it up. It doesn't mean that it's set in stone or that it's forever. It's only marks, it's only paint on paper, and you are free to do what you want. So suppose that I found this new composition here, and I've really tried to not make it predictable. Like I could have very easily kind of just rearranged them and have all the lines go into the middle. But instead, I chose to have some go right off the page, right off the side of this, so that it's odd. Like, it isn't something that I might normally do. And that's another really good thing. So once you've rearranged, and in fact, what you could do if you cut your 2 drawings up, you could even swap them out for each other. There's no reason why you have to keep one only with the one. You could take apart a quarter of, one of them and add it to in place of one, in the other original. And then what I'd like you to do is to overlap the edges and glue them together so that they stay together. So this is where we use our gel medium that I had asked you to get, or glue, whatever you have. But here, just to show you what I would do to do that, this is a spatula is kind of a little painting knife is good to do this, but you can use your fingers. You could use a piece of cardboard, whatever. But all I'm going to do is, just try to overlap them about a half an inch, an inch. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the edges aren't even. It really doesn't matter. You're just trying to create another image, another thing. So what you can see me doing is I'm just putting this stuff down on one side. See, everybody see me doing that? I'm just spreading my gel glossy medium, whatever, on it, and then I'm just gluing it down, by overlapping onto the one next to it. So, if it's a little sloppy, don't worry about that either. And just do, I would say do 2 of these sides and then glue them all together finally. And again, it doesn't matter if they are a little off at all. It's going to be part of it. So that what we're doing is we're making a whole new composition. We're getting ready for a whole new investigation. All right, questions about that? Everybody kind of on page with that?
Yeah, Adria?
Yeah,
Um,
Maddie and then Janice,
did-
yeah.
Did you, wait, oh, how many are we doing?
So you're cutting up 2.
Two, okay. And the other question is, did I see you do it uneven? Did you not make it even when you glued them? Or they
That's
were
right.
all even?
Well, I'm just kind of shooting for them to be even, but I don't care if they're a little.
Oh, okay,
off.
okay.
Yeah, I don't care if they're off, and that shouldn't bother you at all. You just
Okay.
want to get them
Oh, so we're
together
doing
so that they
two.
hold together. Yeah, Mary, yeah.
I'm having technical difficulties with the Arches 88.
Yeah.
It's pilling and it's really wet, like it's gone through to the other side, almost like rice paper.
Wow, huh.
You and I had talked about that, and it's not responding well to the water. To the plain acrylic, it'll be fine, but
Yeah. Well,
um,
I would just say, you know what, Mary, just let it dry. Just let it dry and I'm sure that by tomorrow it will be fine.
yeah, but then I do this exercise because they're all Arches 88. They're all really wet.
They're still wet, really?
Oh, yeah, look, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Where's my? Sorry, that's on the wrong side.
Yeah,
And on the, yeah, they're really, really wet. They're not drying. Yeah, so I had a couple pieces of BFK, so those are outside. Those are okay.
okay.
But,
I think you can make it work. I do. Instead, maybe, I mean,
it won't glue. It's
It won't
too
glue.
wet.
okay,
Yeah.
well then you can cut them up and rearrange them anyway. Do what
Yeah.
you can. Yeah, do what you can. I feel certain that, and even if you use tape on the back, but that still won't work if it's wet, but just let it dry. It will dry, in a couple hours.
Do about that. Like I said, Arches 88 doesn't like water.
Yeah, I know. Yep. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
really hard to know. It's really hard to know how much, and everybody's
Yeah.
got a different hand on how much water. It's good
Okay.
paper. It's really good paper. I like it,
Oh.
Yeah.
This
Janice,
doesn't like wet on wet or something.
go ahead, Janice, yeah.
Okay, so you want us to glue together 2 of these panels, 4 square panels, 2 of them, or one right now, or?
Do it now. Yeah, so cut them into quarters, both of them,
I
right?
did that, but do you want us to glue together both of them?
I
or
want
one?
you to, one, you're gonna make 2 new ones.
Okay,
2 new ones, yeah.
I'm sorry, we're cutting 4 pieces and we're
Yeah.
putting all 4 together.
No, you're gonna
No.
put, yeah. No.
2 and 2?
2 and 2. And I said you can rearrange, yeah, and and it doesn't matter. I mean, you could put all of the 8 together, but I think for our purposes, it's nice to have more. So just 2 new compositions based on cutting up your line drawings.
Oh, we're cutting all of them up?
No, just 2. You're cutting 2 of the line paintings up. Yep. Okay. You're going to have 8 quarters altogether, and then make 2 new pieces out of 4 quarters each.
Oh, right, out of 4 quarters each, yeah.
Yeah. And so we just rearrange them. And like I said, do something that you would not
Okay,
usually do.
dyslexia speaks.
Okay, no worries. But the point of this exercise, as I said earlier, is to give up your preciousness, to understand that these things can be cut up and rearranged in whatever way that you feel they need to for, in service of your work.
Can arrange them vertically or horizontally.
Yep. Although you want them to be, end up being in a nice rectangle again.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
you want rectangles because it's just, for consistency.
got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yep. Betty, what you missed was, I'm asking people to take, we did big contour line drawings, paintings of our hands this morning. And so what they did was to take 2 of those and cut them up into 4 quarters. And then rearrange them, like I have here on my table in some way, and then just glue these all together. So the exercise here is about giving up, feelings of preciousness about your work, feeling okay about rearranging, cutting up, and also just seeing what other kinds of interesting compositions happen because you've already got these.
So that's a or drawing of your hand.
That was contour line drawing. Yeah. Contour, a blind contour line drawing in my hand. Yeah. But again, this is all in the video. When you watch the video, you'll get totally, yeah.
I like it.
Excuse me, Adrian, is this what I use? Is this what you mean by the gloss?
That's a little, let me see. Is it thick? Does it say gel on it?
It says gloss heavy gel.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Adria, since they're still wet, can I use masking tape? Because that'll stick.
Sure, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, if anybody wants to use masking tape on the back, instead of gluing it, that's fine too. I don't care. Really, it won't affect our work at all.
Okay, bye.
We're just doing 2, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. How are we doing, everybody?
Almost done.
All right, great. Let's 2 more minutes and then just come back into the screen and then we will chat about what we've done, do a little bit more, I think, and then do a little bit of a wrap up for today. Just check in with everybody and see how you're all doing and feeling.
Okay.
Okay, let's come back together again. As we just join the group and do a quick look at what we've done here. And I wonder if we could again just show in your video what sort of the overall 2 pieces you just did, because I just want to see. And I think each other might want to see too, where other people are doing. And we're going to go to the Padlet, but we're not going to do it now because I don't want to take too much time out of the class. But Maddie, I can't hear you. You're muted.
I was just trying to figure out how it takes a minute to, or a half a minute to pin someone. So I get to see their work. I have it set up.
Oh, that's
Right,
good.
so-
Yes, you could do that. Yeah. Maybe that would be fun to do. Let's just go through at this point in the class. It might be fun to have each of us just show on the floor, this last little leg of the piece, which is the 2 pieces cut up and reassembled. So let's see, Kathy, we're going to start with you on top. Again, I'm just going to my left to right, but if you wanted to see each person, you can pin them. On your top right of your screen, you see a speaker or no, that's right. In the top of each individual box, you'll see the 3 little dots, and you can see, pin that person so you can see their particular screen. So Kathy, you want to show us a little quickly what you've been up to here?
Sure. for a couple of my pieces, I had that very heavy arches, so it's
Yeah.
very hard to cut.
Okay,
So it didn't do very well in terms of of gluing as well. So
Okay.
here's one piece. I don't know. if you
all
can
right, let's see here. Oh, yeah, there we go. Good. Yes, great. So this is, no, I think this is great because you can see that both the line and the, you know, the ovals are already creating for you something to respond to, you know? You've already got, excuse me, excuse me, colors and shapes to respond to, and that's going to be something that we work on tomorrow. Great. Thank you so much, Kathy. Let's go to, let's see, Ellen, you're up next. So we just remove the pin from that person and then repin Ellen.
Do I pin myself?
No, you don't have to. Just show us. No pinning yourself. Just, but this
I
is
don't know how to go to the floor, but here's.
great. Yes. So, you know, I think the thing to do is like, look at, you know, this interesting composition that you probably would not necessarily have done just off the bat, any of us, you know, and you've got these sort of two design elements running together that kind of create this overall composition. Great, thank you. All right, good. And again, this is not a long, we're just quickly going through what people have done, and it's not a good or bad thing at all. It's just like, isn't that interesting? That's what that person came up with. Maddie, let's see what you did.
I'm not ready.
Hang on. Okay, we're gonna skip you. We'll go to Mary.
Oh, well, mine's sort of drying outside, but let's see if I can take
All
you
right.
out. Hold
Okay.
on.
Yep.
But I didn't realize we were supposed to do 4, so,
No, just
just-
two. Just two. Just to
Oh.
yeah, go ahead. Oops, we can't see you now.
oh God,
Whoop.
I don't.
There you go. There you go. Great. Yes. Yes. Oh, I see. You mean quarterly. You know what? The half works fine too. You know, I just threw to cut them into quarters just to make it a little bit more complex, but halves work as well.
Have this one though, that maybe is.
Oh, there you
more
go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, great. Thank you. And let's see who is next here. Janice, you want to just show us real quickly some of the things you're working on, just to get a sense of all these, you know, very diverse
you see
experiments
me?
here. Yes. Yeah, very cool. Good, good. All right. Yep.
That's,
See,
that's one, and here's the other one.
Wait.
hey. Yep. And not to worry, because you see that, you know, you were cutting these up anyway. You know, it's all good. Very good. Thank you. Let's see, Carrie, you're next.
I'm on a computer, so I've got to aim the computer, and it's
Okay.
that orange and. Let me pull one up.
Oh, we can see.
You see, all right.
Yeah.
Go.
Who's
Try that
going?
again. Oop.
If you speak, then I can pin you.
You have to speak.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, I'm speaking.
Oh.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. Yep. Very good. Yeah.
Keep speaking.
Yeah.
Keep speaking.
There you go.
Sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday
Yeah,
to
yeah. Good, we got it. No, very, you know, these are really going to be fun to get into now. Super. Okay, let's just make sure. And let's see, Bree's not here. And did we see you? No, we didn't see you yet.
Okay. All right, I will try. Oops. I don't know if I can do this. Here's
Oh, perfect. You did it.
one,
That's it. Keep
and
speaking.
here is
There you go. There you go.
the other.
Yeah. Excellent. Good, good, good. All right. It's looking great. Did we see everybody? Maddie, we
No.
didn't see your, do you want to show us now? No? Okay.
I'm not, it's not together yet. I
Okay,
had a-
Okay. Well, I think we get the general gist of, you know, that you know, what's happening with all of these is kind of cool, kind of interesting. As we kind of come to the end of today, I wanted to spend a little bit of time kind of processing everything that we've done and seeing how you're feeling, you know, have answered questions for you, and also hear what you know, what some of these things felt like to do. Like, you know, have you ever cut something that you made up into pieces? Have you ever reassembled? I mean, what, you know, what is new for you? What seems exciting or fruitful? Carrie.
Well, okay, I'm already thinking about what we could blind contour and move on. I'm so excited about that. I realize I've done blind contour tours of figures
Great.
for figure drawing classes.
Uh-huh.
So that would be fun to do,
Yes.
kind of thing too, right? I mean, anything.
Anything, I mean, as you can see, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yep.
All righty.
Good. Anybody else? Any other thoughts, questions? Yeah, Maddie.
I'm so excited about this. I love everything we did.
Oh, it's so
And
great.
I mean, again, it helps me with my teaching. I like your
Yes.
style of teaching and the whole non-judgmental thing. But like the blind contour, cutting this up and just, you're telling us exactly what to do, but everyone's is going to be different.
Yeah.
It's like very exciting. I can't wait for tomorrow.
Okay. I'm glad. I'm so glad. Anybody else? It doesn't have to be positive. You can be negative too. Janice?
Yeah, I done a similar exercise in Amy Wynn's Fearless Abstraction last year.
Yeah.
But what I can't wait to see is one of my pieces in particular has a lot of white, just white space.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it didn't, so I'm very curious to see about how to handle that.
Interesting. Yep. Very good.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Let's see, Anne, what did you want to say?
Yeah. Okay. I just feel like I've been released a little bit and I feel like this is great to have all these giant pieces of paper around. And I thank you for that.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad. And well, and one of the things I forgot to say earlier is, you guys all deserve a huge amount of credit too, to take the leap to do this class, to do a class anyway, and to do something that's, really, seemed kind of daunting to do in your own space. So, thank you for trying that. And thank you for being up for it.
I don't know how we could do this in a studio. There wouldn't be enough space for everybody.
Well, there is that. Maybe it is better to do it online. I was really kind of worried. Yeah, you make it work.
Make it work. I mean, I was hoping for it to be live, but
Yeah, I know it's really
Yeah.
questionable. But let's see. Anybody else? Anyone else have a question?
I'll go again.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
So I used for the ink or the drawing, I used black and blue, like I mixed the colors.
Mhm.
So it kind of bothers me that the ink is bluish in one place and I know you're gonna say it doesn't matter. Okay, and for this exercise, if we just do 2 rather than the 4, that's okay too?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I say, I could tell you to do 8. I could tell you, we could
Yeah.
take 2 of those and put them together. I mean, the gist is basically that you are taking, we didn't start from nothing here. None of these have just been like flying free. They all came from something. And that's really, kind of the key to this. Yeah. And there are many permutations, and you can make up your own, this honest to God, I'm making this up as we're going along, I really,
Exactly.
I have this sort of, lots of this repertoire at this point. And, I find it very hard to write a syllabus for this kind of class because I am responding to where you guys are in a lot of ways. Like the first class, yeah. But, as we go proceed, things are going to change and shift. So I'm reluctant to tell you exactly what we're going to do tomorrow. But, you can get the sense that it's iterations and that, you don't stop with just one action. It's very rare. This is about, finding how you can extend the art making in the studio. Like it isn't just a one-shot deal, I'm done. And then it's kind of like, oh, it didn't feel very fulfilling. I mean, absolutely, there are some works of art that, demand that kind of emphatic, quick response. But then it's like, well, but what do I do with it? How do I turn it into something that's more meaningful in the doing of it, and also, the sort of results. So it's engagement. And, I think this is the piece that is not particularly taught in most art classes, and I'm not faulting them. Many art classes are very much, technique based, as they should be. But I find that more and more teachers are teaching this kind of a class. Like I'm in the last kind of couple of years, I've just noticed how many, how many people are pursuing this. But
So what would you call this? It's not technique based.
no, it's really it's process based.
Well,
It's really a process-based class, and all kinds of names for it. I mean, abstraction kind of falls under abstraction. Most people understand what you mean when you say abstraction or non-representational, work, but that's only part of it. It's really more about, what are some of the possibilities that are out there, beyond what you might think, beyond the normal, and that and that you can take so many leaps of faith, and that can help you get closer to what you might really want to be. You might discover that you want to say with your work, and if you look at contemporary artwork right now, I mean, what a great time to explore art making, because the possibilities, people are doing such wonderfully diverse kinds of things. It's not just the painting on the wall anymore. It's like the tip of the iceberg. And so I think for me, what's happened, and I'm working now 3-dimensionally in installation, but I've been a painter all my life. It has, given me ideas for my own work, and, given me freedom and liberation to really, put forward things that I might not have done earlier. So it's really, it's so exciting. It really is. And, and that's why the judge has to be out of the room, because if the judge is in the room, the judge is a very conservative, voice in your head. The judge only wants to see what it's seen before, and like somebody else's work.
That's such a good point, Adria. The judge wants to see what it's seen before.
That's right. It really does, because it's afraid of innovation. I mean, I
Wow.
think you can just kind of look, on that along that line of, I'm being very simplistic, true, but it's kind of, there is some aspect to that. Judge, the judge is the kind of the side of your brain that wants to, be logical about things, and art making isn't logical. It really isn't. And we also have to, I mean, I'm giving you like this crash course, in just, giving, throwing over all these notions of what art is, and also one sense of oneself. I know it takes a while to get better at this, but the more you start thinking about things like this, the better, the easier it's going to get. The more you do it, the more you're supported by other people who also feel this way. It's like, we've all been told who are the heroes, I just think the contemporary world tells us more and more that somebody else wrote the history. Somebody else with a very particular viewpoint gave us the art history that we know. And not to say that that's, there's anything, intrinsically wrong with that, but also not to put these people up on pedestals and say that we couldn't do what they do, because that's really disempowering. Then you just might as well just not do it at all. And then we've lost so much.
Yeah.
I'm such a proponent of that. And now that I've been teaching, I teach this, and I think it to myself so much that I think I've honestly come to the other side.
I think I finally understand how to build a painting, what you've been, But I also want to say something, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I don't think that there are accidents or by chance, or because I think it all comes out of us, so we can own all of it.
But you can also invite serendipity. You can
Right.
open up and say and allow things to happen. Just let go of some of the control, I think, maybe is
Yeah.
what it is, Ellen. But I hear what you're saying too,
Well, I guess I'm thinking about, I've heard people use the word intuition,
Yeah,
and as if they're dismissing the work.
yeah. I know. It's very bad.
Like, oh, that happens from some mysterious place outside of the artist and it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
I get, that's what I'm trying to,
Yes, yes. Yeah, I know, somehow intuition is, well, first of all, it's considered, sometimes people kind of say it negatively, but also, yes, intuition just means that it's like, oh, just anything will do. And that's not true either, because
No.
as you can see, so we're building pieces of work, but we're not building it from like a finished piece in our minds. We're building it as we make it, it's kind of,
Forms.
it's forming, from nothing comes something. Maddie,
But I think intuitive to me, because when I've had to write an artist statement, I've used that word.
Mhm.
It's like, it's intuitive. It's just like coming, like, was that Mary? No, who said that? Ellen? I don't know who said that.
Ellen, yeah.
But yeah, it's just coming from within, what you feel like doing. So it's kind of not thought out, like you said.
Right. And then, but I guess what I'm saying too is that then there's the editing piece that happens as well.
Right.
So that it's not just, and that's such an interesting, I mean, this is a conversation for another time. We have 5 minutes, so I'm just going to touch on it really briefly. But, what is the difference between therapeutic self-expression with art materials and art? What is there a difference, or is, and if there is a difference, what is that difference?
That's a big one now, isn't it?
Well, I think yeah. Because no matter what it is still some form of a discipline. And to me, that's the difference between just pure like self-therapeutic.
Right.
And, abstract art or any kind of art within a certain discipline. I mean, I can sit down and pound away at the piano, but I'm never going to be like, so they're different things. They have it serve a different purpose, I think.
Yes. Well, yeah. And I think it's hard to sort of pin it down, but I think there's something about, again, it's the editing process and the taking through the steps and exploration, and the staying with an activity over a longer period of time where you really are exploring, you get to the point where, something, you choose something of interest, something that drives your exploration. It's curiosity. And I think, that's different from what drives, sort of a therapeutic kind of, expression that just, kind of comes out. Like, so I think, anyway, it's just interesting to think about. That's all. I find it very, very interesting. Okay, so back to more about this class. What I'd love to do is to have you upload your images to Padlet, and I want to show you again how that's going to work. So we share the screen, and then what I do is I go to my Padlet account, which is where our class Padlet lives.
But AJ, will you send us the Padlet link and that's how we get into it?
That's right. Yes. So here we are. And I sent it to you already, but yeah.
Is there a way that you can invite us, share, like, so that we can have it on our own Padlet too? Because right now it's only on your Padlet.
Right. Only if you are, if you decide to have a Padlet account.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it that way.
You don't?
No, because I've taken many Padlet classes and somebody sends a link and it is added to my, I don't know how it works actually, but.
Yeah, well, I sent you guys the link. So,
Oh, did
yeah.
you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send it again.
Yeah.
I'll send it again. But this is,
I'm such a newbie, so I haven't looked at all the links. Did you send me one too?
I sent everybody one. Yeah, I sent it, but I'll send it again. So what I want you to do is, and let me just show you. So the best way to do this is to, I'm assuming everybody has a phone and a camera. I'm assuming. If you don't, just let me know. But I mean, that's the easiest thing. So open my email to you with the link to the Padlet on your phone. Okay. On your phone, you're gonna come to this page. This is kind of what it looks like. And then over in the bottom right-hand corner, even on your screen, on your little phone screen, is a little, pink circle with a thing in it, right? You're gonna click on that. And then you're gonna go to this magenta thing, and it's gonna go to your upload. And then you can put in, a picture.
So-
Like that. Oop, that was too big, but that was a video actually, but so, I know it's, so you go to the pink thing. I did send you a video, and you should watch it again when you're doing it, but
Okay.
and it looks different, a little bit different on the cell phone, but it still comes up with this. You go to the little thing, it's going to take you to upload, and then you're going to put up an image.
And then do we put our name on it?
Adrian,
You can if
have
you
a-
want to. So wait, let me
You-
show. All right, so there's this that I did, and up here you could put Adria, whatever. And then you're gonna say publish.
Do you have to do them one at a time,
You
Adrian?
do, you do.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
but I'm not
Is it-
gonna ask you to do, too many. I'm gonna say, pick 2 or 3 or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so you haven't set up a column. In my other classes, each student had a column, and we
I
just
can
put
do
on
that. I can do that.
whichever.
makes
That might be a good idea.
It's just, it keeps it very organized, and you can clearly see across everybody's work.
Okay, good. I'll do that. Yep. So, just, I'll take a little time, but yeah, so as you can see, this is a great way to really look at people's work because you can see it very, very well.
Yeah.
And it's just, not as good as when we see it. This is an interesting photograph. Wow. You gotta be Mary. Is this Mary? Mary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. So yeah, so that is Padlet. And I'd like to use it. And tomorrow, if we get to feel pretty comfortable with it, I may ask you to actually upload things that you're doing in class during class. So we can just, we don't have to go around the classroom like this and see each other's stuff at the table. We can just, look at the Padlet right away. The other thing you can do if that doesn't come naturally is just to send me an email with your image. But great idea to have your camera right there, zip, zip, zip. Thank God for these technological advances that we
Yeah.
have so that we can do this in a way. This is just, it's amazing
Right.
to me. It's so
So
easy.
we take the picture right there and then? We don't have to upload it from our photos?
You don't, but
Wow,
you can. Yeah.
okay.
So Adria, before tomorrow, do you want us to pick a few things and have it in the Padlet before class?
I'm going to send you an email.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll have an email. I'm gonna just, just put out, what you can do between now and then and have
Okay.
and a link and all that stuff. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Great.
Great,
Thank you.
everybody. Yeah, so,
okay, thank you.
you're very welcome. Great to work with you today. I have a good afternoon and I look forward to tomorrow.
All right,
Okay, do
Thank
too.
you,
bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.